Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the Education on Fire podcast. Great to be back with you live. And today I have a guest in Andrew Groom, and he's going to be chatting all about singing, an event they've got coming up as part of the Loughborough Schools Foundation. So I'm really excited about that. I've actually been a colleague of Andrew's in the past, so it's going to be really nice to be able to sort of reconnect and chat a little bit about our sort of passion for music. As you know, I'm a professional musician, I'm a music educator, so really excited to be able to sort of drill into that a little bit and kind of take you into the reason we think the arts are so important, and also how he's able to play such a big part in what we're going to be able to show people is important, and how singing is an integral part of that as we go through. So, as always, just wanted to touch base in terms of the episode that went live on Monday. So, there you can see it was our Ger Graus Gets Gritty recap show. And as you know, the first 7 episodes, which are a chapter of each of chapters of his book with Professor Dr. Ger Graus, went live leading up to this. And I wanted to do a recap show, which wasn't just me chatting about what we were doing and why we were doing it. I wanted to sort of do it in a different way. And so in this modern era, the chance of being able to do AI and mess around with these things, I was able to put all of the transcriptions through AI into Claude, came up with a summary document, which I then put into Notebook LM, which created a podcast of about 22 minutes. Let me just move these down so you can see. Yeah, it's about 22 minutes of 2 AI voices talking about all the things that we covered, to give you like a really short summary of all of that. So if you go to educationonfire.com, you can actually click on that there, or wherever you get your audio platforms from, you can listen to that episode. It's fascinating. It did a really good job. There are a couple of pronunciation things which are slightly different, but I thought as an exercise to try and do that, I thought it'd be a really interesting thing for you to hear, to get sort of a different kind of perspective than just Ger and I obviously talking over those last 7 weeks. And what I'm going to do over next week, when we go live on Monday, is I'm going to talk about how some of the takeaways that I've sort of gained from actually taking part in these conversations I've put into my own teaching, my thoughts about that and education going forward, some of the things that we can do, maybe some of the things that are going to be a little bit beyond us without sort of political will or people being able to support us from on high to make those big changes. But yeah, that'll be the episode that goes live next Monday. So looking forward to sharing that and my sort of personal feelings. But like I said, wanted to do this recap show to be able to sort of give you an oversight of what that entire 7 episode series was going to be all about. So as always, if you're watching live and you'd like to leave a comment, then please do just put it into the chat box here on YouTube, and we'll better bring those up and say hello to you in real time. If not, leave them in the replay. Let us know that you're watching the replay, and we can always converse there backwards and forwards. And I appreciate everyone who's been talking, especially on LinkedIn and some of the other social media platforms that we've been talking about. Hashtag Education on Fire, based on the Ger Graus season, and also the other things that we've been talking about as well. So, but anyway, the most important thing for today is to chat to Andrew and everything that he's been up to, is his job of Head of Prep Music. So Andrew, thank you so much indeed. Hope you're ready and willing to come on. Great to see you today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Mark, and great to see you again virtually. I miss our days at Kimbolton in that tiny little hut that they used to put you in with the drum kit. Are you still there?
No, I'm no longer there, sadly. So I've got a couple of schools that are slightly closer to home for me now. But so yes, we worked at a previous school together. Andrew came in as Head of Prep Music there, and I think one of my first takeaways from Andrew was, one, I'm not sure where he gets the extra hours from in a day, because everyone's busy in school, as we know. Andrew was sort of running the department, got everyone really enthused with everything music going on, from all the little ones all the way through the prep years, and at the same time managed to create concerts, was composing, was just creating amazing things as well as all the other stuff that goes along around life as well. So yeah, so most of us had those 24 hours. Andrew, I think, manages to find an extra 12 from somewhere and still manages to cram it all into his week. So I'm not sure quite how you managed to do that. So why don't you take us first of all into the reason that we're here, first of all, talking about the big scene, because I'm really interested in terms of how that works in terms of the schools that you work in, how that works on a grander scale through the Midlands, and who's involved and everything. So let's start first of all with your job in terms of Loughborough Schools Foundation, and what that first what that means to you in terms of what your job and your role is within that.
Yeah, sure. So Loughborough Schools Foundation, it's basically 3 schools. So there's the Fairfield, which is a co-ed prep school. So I'm essentially head of music for that school, but the music is like a separate entity for the whole foundation. So there's a director of music who's my boss, and also presides over music for the other 2 schools. So it goes into like there's a grammar school, senior and for boys, and a high school for girls. So that's kind of how the foundation works. So that in itself provides a lot of opportunities, because I'm part of a bigger team, and we can, put on bigger events than if it was just one prep school. But the big sing really came event because of 2 things. Firstly, we took the kids to Young Voices, which was amazing. We took all the choir last year to Young Voices. But we kind of realized there were a couple of things being in Leicestershire. So yeah, can look up where, no one knows where Loughborough is, but you can look on a map. So it's a bit of a way from Birmingham. It means it's like which is where Young Voices was. It means it's like a really late night, and also for like local state primaries is quite expensive. It was for us as well, but putting on the coaches to get there, I mean, that was quite a lot out of our budget. And so we kind of felt there might be something we could do which more people could get involved in more locally. And then the other thing was, we do a big concert every year as a foundation in De Montfort Hall in the evening. So this time of the year. So we book, because we don't really have a suitable concert hall in the foundation, we book out De Montfort Hall and do our big yearly concert there. So because we've already got it booked from like 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something, obviously no one's using it in the morning. So we thought, well, it's not going to be very expensive to just use it in the morning. And those 2 ideas obviously came together, and the big sing was born. So that's how it came about, really.
So it's literally only happened in this last sort of year or so then, in terms of, like you're saying, having experienced. I mean, many people watching will probably know of Young Voices, and it's an incredible thing. But like you, it's great if, like say, if you live locally, but like say the extra costs and the super late night and all that kind of thing, which for the younger children can be a bit of an issue. So from thinking this was a good idea, and we all come up with great ideas, how did you then manage to get enough schools and enough people interested in actually taking part as well, to sort of to make it be a big thing rather than just a couple of schools, for example?
Yeah, so we do quite a lot of outreach with local primary schools. So we've got quite a mailing list and reputation in the area already. So that, and then also we've got teachers have local contacts, so a few of those. So we just use the mailing list and the contacts that we have. Quite a few schools just came. So we've got 9 schools taking part as well as ourselves. Couple of, about maybe 3 or 4 of them just came completely out of the blue, just from the email. And then other ones were like personal contacts. But it's a hope that I hope that we'll be able to put it on again and build on that, and fit even more on the stage. Because I think the original idea was to do it for year 5 and 6. But it didn't quite align with their choirs. So we ended up doing it year 3 to 6. So anyway, but that's kind of by the by. So that's how we got, everyone else on board. And I think we kind of didn't want to overfill it as well, because obviously when you get schools to sign up, they don't really know how much take up they're going to get. So everyone gave estimated numbers, but we didn't want to like completely fill it to the max in case they got more, and then we literally couldn't fit on the stage. So next year, when we kind of, and everyone sort of knows what's going on, we might be able to get close to 400, which is sort of the capacity there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Amazing. I mean, when I was running Rhythmically Speaking, which was a music edu company I had way back when, myself and Alex Jagger, who you may know from the brass world, was my business partner, and we put on some World War II concerts. And like you, we decided to have the live band and to get local schools together to do it. And the main essence of this was the fact that my kids were going through school at the same time. We wanted to give them the chance to kind of experience that kind of live performance in that sort of mass choir setting with a live band as well. But I was just thinking about that in terms of what you just said there. Getting people involved, knowing what the numbers are, the logistics of it, and all of that is an awful lot of work. So it is a building process, isn't it? So I can see sort of the way you would sort of talk about bringing this together is a really smart way of being able to do it, because you want to lay those foundations so that you can build it sort of year on year.
Yeah, it's definitely my vision for it. Yeah, that we'll keep going with it. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the repertoire, because that's the other thing about when you put concerts on, in terms of copyright, in terms of deciding what you're going to do. So as a musician, as a talented composer, as someone was doing it, was it a no-brainer for you to take that on, to do it because you wanted to be able to give that opportunity? And how is it for the people learning the songs? Because obviously some of the Young Voices things, as an example, they're songs that the children might know already, whereas I'm assuming that's not the case for the people who are going to be involved in this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think my passion has always been writing children's songs. So that's why I went into primary music in the first place, because that's really what I enjoy the most, and seeing the children really benefit from that. So, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to want to do it. But also, I'm not aware of any songs kind of similar to what I've written for it. So there's a theme, which is adventurers and explorers. So it's kind of very aspirational, you can do anything if you put your mind to it sort of theme. And then there's one title song which is more broad, and then the other songs focus on the individual stories of different explorers or different teams of explorers and missions, such as Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary going up Everest is one song. Another song is Amelia Earhart. So and each song is a sort of little biography of the character. So I thought that would really tie it in to certain strands of the KS2 curriculum, and kind of be really educational and inspiring for the children to hear about these amazing stories, these amazing characters who overcame adversity. And so I'm not aware of any other song cycles, I guess you'd call it, like that. So it was, another reason why it was something that I wanted to write. And I hope that maybe it could be used elsewhere as well. I'd be very happy for that to happen. Yeah.
Hold that thought, because as part of my work with the National Association for Primary Education, we are looking at new projects and things to be able to do. So we'll talk off air about that, because there are some exciting things in the works like that. In terms of the children learning it, then you've actually, I assume, have to put some kind of pack together. How are they learning it within their school, and how much time are you going to have to literally pull the concert together on the day?
So we offered each school a workshop. So we've got a head of singing here at LSF, Loughborough Schools Foundation, as well. So that's David. So David or myself went to any school that wanted. We gave a workshop, sometimes two. Most of the learning was through the resources that we created. So it's just YouTube videos mainly. That's been most used. We also supplied like PowerPoints and song words and lead sheets, all of that. But I think most used is just the YouTube videos, which both just with the words, and also a year 3 teacher very kindly put some actions to them. So So there's one with her stood at the front doing the actions as well. So it just makes it dead easy for the teachers. They don't have to be music specialists, because often, I'm sure we'll discuss later, sadly, at primary level in the state sector, it's incredibly rare to have a music specialist. They might have a music lead, but anyway, so they don't have to be a music specialist. They can just literally play the video and be like, come on, louder. So yeah, and some schools we've worked with, you can they've done that. Some schools, they've had like one school has got a really strong dance teacher, so their actions are like amazing, because they've obviously had some specialist input on that. But yeah, I think mainly it's been through those videos, which is really the model of Young Voices as well, which is that's how they do it. Yeah.
And I really love the local area idea of it, because I'm a fan of Young Voices. I think what they've done is given thousands of children such great opportunities and experiences. But I think for me, if I sort of think about my sort of musical journey from my sort of schooling through obviously to becoming a musician myself, it was kind of seeing the next step. So I sort of think, oh, right, okay, so I've learnt this in school, and now I'm going to sing it with some local schools, and then I'm going to do it in a local hall, which they may not have ever been to before, but it's in their local area, and then they're going to see some players live, and then my parents or whoever come to see it get to see it as well. So it's sort of growing organically out of their immediate experience. And while I quite like the wow factor of going to the Albert Hall, like you say, or going to a big venue to do it with thousands of others, in some ways there's a bit of a misstep between the linearage, as it were, in terms of each way that things can progress, and you can sort of see that next step moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just as you said, it's like missing an order of magnitude, because if you think a kind of normal class would be like 30, then you go straight from that to 5,000 in Young. So it's quite an extreme step, whereas we're having 300. So it's kind of more, it's a smaller step. And I think also we hope that it'll be able to showcase the children in a really special way, because I think that with De Montfort Hall, you probably know, it's got nice, it's got good choir risers where you'll be able to see every child. The audience will be, it's obviously a big concert hall, but they won't be so far away. They're sort of squinting to pick out their child. And it really, with that many children as well, it really matters that they all sing.
Yes.
So that you don't have any schools who are just there for the ride. We've all got to pull together and sing, otherwise it won't work. Because it will work. It will be great. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is you want that quality of music, don't you? Well, the experience is one thing, but we know actually, learning to sing properly, to sing as a choir, to get that experience and to feel like you're integral in what's going on. Like say, not just lost in the numbers. I think is really important. So, am I right in thinking you have a live band as well? And how's that going to work? Who makes up the live band?
So it's mainly teachers from Loughborough. So we've got a piano, who's one of our accompanists. We have drums, who's our head of wind, brass and percussion. We have one of the academic teachers who's playing guitar. We have one of our also former colleagues. So Mr. Hickman is making an appearance on bass guitar.
Wow.
Because so we drafted him in, and then another two colleagues on trumpet and saxophone. So I think, what's that? 6-piece. So a 6-piece band to go along with it. Yeah, so that should be really exciting. And we'll have myself conducting, trying to hold it all together, and then a couple of teachers either side doing the action, so they've got someone to look at for that as well. And there's the odd bit where it splits in 2 parts, so that'll be easier with a bit more help at the front. So so that's how it's going to work.
It sounds fantastic, and from my experience, I think the experience the children will get from that will be amazing. I always think having a live band, and there's nothing like that when you're taking part as well. It's very different than someone coming into your school and demonstrating, or whatever bits of learning music you get to do in school. I think it being an integral part and actually hearing and feeling what it's like when you've got musicians who are really there supporting you, and especially, you know, the odd word, a little bit of a conversation, or the ability just to ask a question or something. And I think that tangible sort of connection with what you're doing in whatever form that happens to be, as well as that overall experience. And community is something we talk a lot about on the podcast. And I think the fact that you've got parents, people from school watching, an integral part of it, they've been learning from that point of view. You've got schools all coming together as well. And I think as the community comes together and you can then sort of understand and see and feel what's being produced, in this scenario a particular concert, I think that sort of the world is your oyster at that point, because you would hope that other parts of the community can come in, whether there might be extra funding, whether, like say, you can grow it to different areas, whatever it happens to be. There's the blueprint and really great foundation there to sort of offer it to people who are going to really get a lot out of it. And it just sounds like a fantastic experience. So I take my hat off to you, because you were very sort of blasé about, oh yes, we thought we'd just do this, but I know these things don't just happen in any way. So to get it to actually come to fruition within a year or so is an incredible feat.
Well, it's really not. I mean, I want to emphasize it's definitely a massive team effort. So we've got we've got a great department here. So obviously Nikki, director of music, and David, head of singing. They've probably been the biggest. Don't want to mention everyone because I'll miss someone out. But those, yeah, those two, like, that have been, instrumental. Pardon the pun.
Yeah,
but getting it off the ground.
Yeah. So I think that's a really interesting point, because, like I say, all these things are team efforts. But it also sounds like if you've got people who are supportive and want to make this happen, it seems a much easier thing to do. And we talked about the amount of music, or maybe music leads within state schools as well. And I've often found that unless there's a supportive head, or there's someone within the school who can really understand the benefit of music, because of the way the curriculum's gone, because of funding and all those sorts of things, it's very easy for that to sort of go to one side, isn't it? So in your experience, you know, having that person sort of really pushing for music, is it the only way these things kind of become a positive for good within state schools, or do you think there's another way for it to kind of be expanded?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to money, because I think a lot of heads in principle are for music happening, but they don't feel like they've got the budget for it. And obviously, you know, that I'm not a head. I don't know what they've got, all sorts of other pressures and demands on that. And so I think, but obviously looking at, I mean, we've mentioned Young Voices a lot, but looking at how the involvement that's got, and it shows that there is a will out there for it. But I feel, as mentioned, there's a lot of schools where outside of the catchment of those larger cities where they might be crying out for something like this. But I think like you said, they just need the model for like what would work, because actually it's not like we're plowing a load of money into this and it's kind of down the drain, because we're selling tickets to the parents. I mean, it's only £5, but we're like basically packing out De Montfort Hall, so that's what's like 700 seats. I think we sold, I know it's more, I think the capacity is 1,000, but I think we sold like 700 seats. So we're kind of getting it back. So it's not like the school is having to spend all this money putting it on. So I think that hopefully shows that it's possible to do these things, and it, you know, can cover its costs. Because even if we had to like hire in the musicians and spend a bit more, if we, you know, didn't have so many things in house, I think we could still pretty much cover the costs for it just through ticket sales. You can kind of up them a bit.
Yeah.
So, I think, I think obviously other things in music you need a lot of investment for. Obviously instrumental schemes, is like, we desperately need the funding for that. That's like, yeah, just a bit depressing when you start thinking about the way things have gone in the state sector with that. But I think with singing, it's such a low barrier to entry that absolutely we can get a lot more happening, I would have thought.
Yeah, and I think also that sense of how it's possible as well. So I think if we take this as a project, is it possible? It's not about, okay, where can we find X amount of money? It's the fact that, okay, so if we know that it's big enough and it's successful enough that we've got enough children involved, and therefore enough parents will be in a position to pay £5 for a seat as opposed to £100 for a seat or whatever, to make it worthwhile, then everyone's in it together, everyone's supporting each other, and we can find a way to make that model work. And I really like that as a way of thinking, rather than, no, we can't do it because there isn't the funding. Like I say, just finding those ways to do it. And you're right about the instrumental side of things, because it either needs people to come in and there be money for that, or it needs someone within the school. And like we sort of alluded to before, there's less and less people within, I think, the state sector specifically, that have some of those skills, or will have actually experienced those things and can actually bring those in as part of their skill set, even if they had the time to do it. And the sort of the wider opportunities thing, the whole class learning thing, is a great way to sort of start those things. But then often it does need, a music hub, which is very sort of able and been able to present these things, and even then I know their budgets are being cut as well. So a big cry out for anyone who's in a position to help fund any of these things, because there are some brilliant people out there wanting to help and to do it. And with the recent white paper coming out about a broadening of curriculum and the arts being important, I hope there's some way of being able to bring that into fruition with funding, with also the fact that people actually need the skills to be able to do that. And I think my shout out for those people who are in a position within a school who think, oh, I'm not quite sure how I can make that happen, or whether I have the skill set to do that. I think what you've explained today is the fact that, like I say, a YouTube video, the chance to have those resources, gives you the opportunity to do what you can do as a teacher, even if you're not necessarily a musician, to sort of share those things and bring them together. And I know certainly when I've been doing sort of samba workshops or CPD with teachers, is the fact that sometimes people get scared because it's that kind of, oh, I'm not a musician, I don't know how all this works. But I was able to sort of flip it slightly and say, but if you can think that your 7-year-olds are able to pick this up, I'm absolutely sure that you can, and you have the benefit of being a teacher. You know the children, you know how to sort of layer things up, you know how to make a class work together. And so actually the music's kind of almost like a byproduct in some way. That's sort of a little bit sort of painting by numbers. We'll give you those skills and show you how the rhythms work and how you create a samba band, but you already have the sort of the professional know-how to actually bring a class together to do this, even if it feels slightly outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's definitely within any school's reach, really. Yeah, just as you said. Yeah.
So in terms of what you'd like to see moving forward, you sort of mentioned about the possibility of doing it elsewhere. Are you excited about maybe composing something different each year, if you're able to make this an annual event, coming up with different themes? What would your sort of grand plan be, maybe?
Yeah, so both of those possibilities. So yeah, once it's happened, I'd love to kind of take it's called Beyond the Horizon, these 6 songs, to take them to different people with the blueprint of what we've done, and see if that can be replicated elsewhere. And yeah, I'd love for us to be able to continue the Big Sing, and I'm definitely up for writing something new every year. I've kind of got some ideas which I'll keep close to my chest for possible themes for next year. So yeah, I really, as I said, I really love writing children's songs. I kind of used to write 1 or 2 musicals every year. So when I was at Kimbolton, you knew about that. At Fairfield, there isn't really the need for that, because they kind of do more like Disney stuff and that sort of thing. So yeah, I kind of want to have another outlet for my writing. I think this can really be a good one. Yeah.
And for those people who've no idea about this, but are keen to sort of learn, you say, I'm just writing a song cycle for this event. How many hours does that take? What's the sort of the process to sort of from sort of conception to be able to say to teachers, look, here's some resources and this is what we're going to be able to do?
So I kind of think of it as there are different, like you do all the songs and you do lots of different passes on the set on the songs, as in like you will like firstly you got to the songs actually have to kind of come into existence, which is very difficult to put a time frame on because it requires like a measure of inspiration and all that. So that is, you don't know how long that'll take for you to actually like think up the songs. And so yeah, and there I always remember the tune, so I just write down the words and I kind of got the ideas in my head for the tunes and the harmony and whatnot. And then the next pass would be like writing out the tunes, so it's like nailed down every note. So I do it all on like Sibelius. Then after that it would be doing it on Logic, so I just sequence them, so because I know they're going to need to be like a backing track. Then my very lovely wife, she has a lovely voice, so she sings them for me. And then then you've got kind of these MP3s of them. And yeah, after that, just make them into videos, so a bit of video editing to put the words on. So that's those. And then it's just writing the band parts. So I end up doing that last. So and that's just a bit of a hodgepodge of trying to work backwards from what I'd played into Logic on the computer to like realize it in notes and then adding other parts. And so so I have no idea how many hours it is altogether, but it's kind of different passes of going over the same songs, doing those different processes. Yeah.
And if you had the opportunity to talk in this way to any of the children about that, because I'm sort of thinking, whatever your take is a musician, so maybe you're a fantastic singer and you think this is going to be a great event. I love singing, but by the same token, you've just been talking about using Logic, about using Sibelius, about arranging, about making a YouTube video, about recording some things. So I guess sort of children understanding that bigger picture of what this is all about, as well as just being involved in a concert. Is that something you've had the opportunity to share with anybody?
Well, I actually haven't really gone into that with them, but I think, yeah, that's a good idea. So maybe, I'm sure a lot of them would be interested to know how it's all come together. Yeah, so I haven't done that, but that is something which I probably should do to broaden it out. Yeah.
Well, I think not for the I just think because it's some people, it's just interesting where they can see their skill sets being used in something which is a project which everyone perceives it to be a certain way. if you sort of see what I mean. And with sometimes it's organizational, sometimes it's computer related, sometimes it's music related, whatever it happens to be. And I think it just sort of opens a little curtain somewhere for some people to go, oh, I didn't realize that maybe my skill set and my interest in this particular thing would even take me into this world of, I think if I'm into computers, then therefore it's coding and therefore it must look like this and I'm going to have this type of job, as opposed to, oh, right, so I can use a computer and I can actually create music in that way and I can do this. Whatever it happens to be. And I just think that awareness, it just gets me excited about, where learning can take you and how people can use it in their own way. It's just about, you can only aspire to what exists, as Gay Grace said recently on one of the shows. And I just think it's a really interesting topic.
Yeah. No, that's a great quote. That's very true.
So I'm just
so I think I'll try and talk to them about it. Maybe show them some.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
Logic. Yeah.
I'll apologise to your wife now if I've just suddenly created a whole load of extra hours of things that you're going to get excited about. to be able to do that. So is there anything else you want to sort of mention in terms of the event itself, or anything that you want people to understand that maybe we haven't chatted about already?
Well, if you're in the area, we still have some tickets left. So anyone listening who's in the Leicester or Leicestershire area, so it's this Saturday at 11:15 is the concert at De Montfort Hall. I think it should be a really, really exciting concert. So that's definitely worth saying. And anyone, I'm very happy for anyone to get in touch with me about the songs or about putting on something similar. So that's it really for me.
That'd be fantastic. And one final thing for me, are you going to be recording it in any way in terms of a video of the whole thing or photos or whatever? So like say post celebration of it, people can get an idea of what that experience was like.
Yeah, so we are filming it, but we're just literally in the middle in our school of doing a big digital safeguarding review. So I'm not 100% sure what's happening with the video of it, because this review is just happening now. So we're kind of, obviously, as you'll know, there's all this new AI stuff with, digital security and deep fakes and all the rest of it. So that is something which our foundation, I think rightly, is taking really seriously. So everything's being reviewed because we used to put all concerts like just wham on YouTube. So that was kind of standard practice. So we're rethinking that. It's definitely a few pay grades above me in the so I can get back to you on that when I know what's happening. But we are filming it, and it might become a highlights reel, or the whole thing might be available. I'm not sure. But something will happen with it.
Brilliant. And I'm just always curious about these things, and you bring up a great point. It's another podcast or another conversation, I'm sure. But it's something, certainly from a podcasting point of view, the whole AI thing, people using your content, using visuals and all of that sort of stuff, it's an important thing. And definitely in terms of children, obviously, and within the education sector. And I think finding a way to be able to keep the excitement and to feel like we're growing as an education sector and being able to give kids experiences which are really positive while being aware of all of the pitfalls and those things. I hope we manage to find a good sort of halfway house with all of those things, which gives us the best of everything. But like I say, that's another conversation as we go through. So Andrew, thank you so much. It's been great chatting to you, great to reconnect. Hopefully there'll be some people who can come along on Saturday morning, and I wish you the very best of luck with it. It'll be a fantastic day, I'm sure. And we will speak off air afterwards about some other possibilities. So I'm excited to see where this will take us. So for now, thanks so much indeed.
Thanks so much, Mark. Thanks.
Amazing stuff. So I'm just get so excited when people are able to do those things and just give experiences in a way, but really show their talents, really sort of be able to sort of create something which isn't just the norm. And like I said while we were chatting, it's one thing to be able to say, let's do these things. It's another to actually make them a reality. So when I heard about this, I was really excited to be able to sort of share that with you as that kind of, what's possible? What can we do as a community? What can we do as part of the education world in and around the UK to be able to expand that further? So I will keep you posted on maybe how some of these things go through. So just a couple of things I wanted to share with you just before we depart, so to speak. Remember, there is a reading conference, not a conference in Reading, as we've been speaking about within NAPE. So if you're anywhere near Bedford on the 8th of May, this will be for you. We're doing it as part of a joint production with the University of Bedfordshire. So there are going to be their students who are trainee teachers who are going to get this particular conference, and also local teachers in the area that can come along as well. And as you can see in here, we have a whole selection of workshops, and you can pick and choose one workshop in the morning, one workshop in the afternoon, and we can tailor that for you, as well as the keynote at the beginning. But if you want to find out more about that, and also the keynote from Professor Roger McDonald, that's all there. If you go to educationonfire.com/reading, that will take you to this page where you can book, or you can then click through to the NATE website and find out more about that. So please do check that out as well. And next week, are you feeling, or rather, are you failing with an education? Are you feeling overlooked? This is really going to be a conversation all about those children who are feeling under the cosh, anxiety, and how that's affecting the way that they're learning. And so we're going to be chatting to Dr. Samani, and he's going to be telling us all about some of the neuro pathways, sort of neuroscience-led strategies to help children about why they're learning, how they're learning, and how, despite the system and maybe some of the strains that children are feeling, how we can sort of change that approach to maybe our perception of how we can be educated and how we can learn and take that forward. So that's going to be next week at 5 o'clock for our live session. So hopefully you can join us then, and we can answer any of your questions as well. So really looking forward to that. But for now, thank you so much. Thank you again to Andrew. I get excited when we talk about music and anything which is a positive note. So yeah, really appreciate him sharing everything that he's done. And yeah, we'll be back with you again next week. Thank you so much for being here. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire.